Circle. I'm Marcia.
I'm Chartrice.
I'm Sade.
We truly hope you have been enjoying our series on forgiveness. Today we're going to discuss the negative effects that harboring unforgiveness has on your body. So let's jump into it.
Let's do that. So I would say one is emotional eating. Knowing that you are not hungry. You probably just ate a little while ago, but you're eating again, but you don't really know why. But it's trying to fill whatever that feeling is on the inside. You're using food to kind of cope, in a sense, with that feeling, or so that you don't have to feel that feeling. Yeah.
I'm gonna say the opposite. Not eating.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be me. That used to be me. Not eating was like, food was my biggest enemy. You know, stress, unforgiveness, healing, all that was all in one. Like literally, like, you know, just wouldn't eat. Like I will, to a point where honestly, transparency, like where I will feel my stomach pains, like from being hungry, and I would ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's really like, you know, harming myself. Probably a low-key self, you know, eating disorder, to be honest. But like literally not eating, losing weight. And then being upset with myself about losing weight.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say it is kind of like an eating disorder, right? Because binge eating is still a part of a disorder. You know, you feel the pains from eating too much, but you're still gonna eat. But then you get mad at yourself because you just ate that, and how it's left you feeling after eating all of that. So it's a vicious cycle.
Very much so.
Yeah. And I think like not just, you know, eating past the point of like you're full, you had enough, but just emotional eating can also be eating the wrong food.
Right.
Like when we're stressed, when we're overwhelmed, then we go for like the burgers and the wings, the ice cream,
chocolate,
cake, you know, all of that.
Yes.
And we're trying to, because eating is one of those things that makes you feel good, right? Because it releases endorphins, like eating, having sex, exercise, all of those things releases endorphins that kind of make us feel good.
Right.
And because we're trying to fill a void, right? We're not feeling joy, right? Because all we feel is that temporary happiness. So we go after the food or not eating because we're trying to feel something that's not there, you know? And that's what unforgiveness makes you, the fruit that you produce when you don't forgive is anger, bitterness, resentment. You know, you don't process things the way that you're supposed to process. You're just mad at the world. You're mad at people that you shouldn't even be mad at. You mad at the girl for the way that she looked at you. When the way that she looked at you didn't even have nothing. She wasn't even thinking about you.
Right.
She wasn't even looking at you. She was just looking in your direction.
Just got an attitude.
So true. So true.
But even, you know, drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Partying.
Sex.
Yeah, promiscuity. Exactly.
Yes.
Like all of that. That can also lead to, you know, unforgiveness, stress, and healing as well.
Because you're doing it because you have so much. Your heart is hardening.
You're just wilding out.
So you're trying to numb, like you said.
Yeah,
You're trying to
mask
numb.
it. Yeah,
Yes.
like, and that's the biggest thing. We gotta face it. And then the Bible even says, you know, be sober minded.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like, you know, drinking and binge drinking or being drunk is totally different. You can drink to, you know, drink, but you're not supposed to drink to be belligerent.
Right. In
You know,
excess.
no, yeah, exactly. And even overeating, that's gluttony, you know. So it's just like, and then starving yourself is harming yourself.
Yeah.
Like it, but then it also leads to medical conditions. It really can. Like if you do it for long enough,
right?
An obsession or, you know, like overdose, all that. Like I remember I used to smoke when I don't smoke anymore. Thank God. God has literally took that craving and that spirit out of me. Thank you, Jesus. I was like a habitual smoker. I would smoke every day, all day, especially on weekends. And it's like, you know, to a point where smoking didn't do nothing for me. You know, like, you know, it's something I used to enjoy to do, but it was something I was also masking. Like literally going through marital issues, even like going through, you know, breakup with, you know, my older kid's father, or just any type of issues, you know, a sibling rivalry or whatever. Trying to forgive, trying to move on, but also smoking to mask it because I want to be dumb. I want to be numb. You know, like, but not realizing that once I'm done smoking, once that high is gone, I'm back to myself. But what did I do again? Smoke more because it came back again. So that, even drinking, I'm not much of a drinker, but when I never really drank to even numb stuff. But like if I was like, want to party, like especially when you're ending a relationship, you want to go party, right? Have fun.
Yeah.
You're gonna go live your life, go shake your booty, Something you wouldn't do if you're in a relationship.
Right.
You wouldn't do that in such, in such a the word I'm trying to, like, you wouldn't do it often, more so. It may be a once in a blue thing, and when you're breaking up or you're healing or forgiving someone, it may be like a weekly thing or a nightly thing, just because you're just trying to get some attention, or you're just trying to get your mind off things, and you're thinking that, if I drink, or if I get someone's number tonight, or if we use sex, we use our body.
Right. Because you don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
Or, feel those feelings.
Right, exactly. So it's just like healing and, unforgiveness, really stress, that really can affect us in so many ways, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we cope with it, like you said, in eating, drugs, alcohol, sex, like, in all the ways all the bad ways, to be honest.
Yeah. And if you don't check it, in the beginning, that's like you said, you just kept drinking more, kept smoking more because you just wanted to keep, now it just ups the ante. So that's when it becomes really dangerous, because you're just like, okay, that wasn't enough, I gotta do more.
Yeah, and the other thing is, not just with the drugs and the alcohol and the food and the sex, but another way that we can mask things when we're hurting is by just doing the most, like just being busy for no reason. Like, when do you have downtime? Like, you always have something going on, whether you're picking up multiple jobs so you don't have to be in the house or be around certain people in the house. Maybe like you are hanging out, or just always having something to do because you don't want to face you. You don't want to face the hurt. You're running from it, and you're thinking like, well, if I do these things, this is going to make me happy. But the thing is, all of that stuff is temporary. When the whole time, everything that you need, you already have. You already have the answers to the questions that you have. You already have the solutions to the problems that you have. But it takes work. And see, what people don't do
is work.
They don't want to do the work. They want it to be like an overnight thing. So I'm going to continue to do this temporary stuff that's affecting my mental and physical health instead of doing the necessary work.
Facing it.
Letting that person go. Like, let's talk about this.
She about to get
How is it benefiting you to hold on to that person? Think about it. Think about somebody that you have not forgiven. Go, just take a pause and go on their social media. They living their best life, ain't they? They're not thinking about you, but yet you're at home, you're hurting. Oh, let's not even talk about, another thing is retail therapy. They're shopping, they're buying I gotta buy the latest car, material. This is all the things I'm doing to try to make me feel better, make me feel loved, make me feel appreciated, make me feel approved, accepted.
And this could be a family member also. Like, literally, like, cousins, sisters, parents, as we were saying, whatever. This could be anyone that we're referring to. You gotta face it still. Like, that doesn't, there's no excuses for any of that at all. Like, you still gotta face it. You still, like they said, they could be living their best life, and you still, tripping off of them, of the past. Like, what about the past? Like, how do you get over the past? Like, people that are stuck in the past, like, when do they get over childhood trauma that they can't bring to you later on in arguments? Especially if they're like, oh, well, you're the reason why. The reason why I'm in this person today. Or, do you remember back in the day, that really hurt me? Whereas the person that they're speaking to can be like, that can, like, what? I forgot all about that. So what do you say? I'm sorry?
I acknowledge your feelings. Right? Like, if someone, like your child or an old friend or significant other comes to you and say, you hurt me when you, first of all, if they never said anything, then how do you even know that?
But they do, and they keep bringing it up only in certain times and certain moments, though.
I acknowledge your feelings, right? And once you say, I acknowledge your feelings, and you apologize. Because the one thing we don't do, we can't tell people how to feel.
Right.
We cannot. Like, if someone says, you hurt me, that's their feelings.
Right. They're
like,
valid. Mm-hmm.
They're valid. So we say, I acknowledge your feelings. That I hurt you when whatever you did. How can we move past it, right? You can ask them, like, how can we move past it? Will you forgive me, right? The only thing that we're supposed to do is ask them to forgive us, right? When we hurt a brother or sister, we ask them to, and I'm not saying like you're blood brother and sister. We call each other sisters and brothers under Christ. And you ask them, will they forgive you? Now, if they choose not to forgive you, they're choosing to hold on to unforgiveness. Now, if they choose to hold on to unforgiveness and they want to continue to bring it up, you don't have to continue to stay in that conversation.
Right.
As soon as they bring it up, I'm removing myself from this conversation. I've asked you to forgive me. I acknowledge your feelings. And I'm moving on. Because when you think about kids, for instance, like some of us have childhood trauma where our parents have done something to hurt us in some way or form, right? It's going back to the saying that what happened to you is not your fault, but healing is your responsibility. Now, if you already had this conversation, you let your parents know, well, when you did this and this and that, it hurt me. And you had that conversation with them. Well, now it's your responsibility to heal. You cannot keep, every time something bad happened in your life, well, you know, my bad wasn't in my life. My mom abused me. I got molested, you know, blah, 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 blah. No, because now you're playing victim.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're playing victim. Now let's have a party.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're playing victim. And you're choosing to stay in that. They're choosing to stay in that stuck place.
Right, and you don't want. And if you're playing victim, you do not need to be friends with people that are going to be empathizing or feeding into that at all. You need someone that's going to be solutionable with you. Like, you know, okay, how do we move forward? How do we move on from this? Like, how do we heal from this? How do you heal from this? Not someone that's going to make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Right, give you
Like,
that
that's the
loving
last
correction.
person you need in your corner is when
Exactly.
you're being a victim. You need someone that's going to lift you up, not bring you down and dwell in it. You know, misery don't love company.
Right.
We don't want that.
Right.
You know, we don't want that. If you're miserable, then I need to bring you up. Like you said, we're not having a little
Pity party.
Pity party.
Party.
There's no pity parties, and that's the biggest thing. And that's in regards to anything, drama, whatever. You don't need to be talking to someone that's going to make things worse. That's going to be sucking you in. You need someone to be pushing you up.
Right. And they're giving that loving correction.
No, you
right.
most
So
definitely.
even if you're going on, you're back in that place, and they're gonna say, "Hey, you know, like I know we kind of talked about this, but how come you're kind of getting stuck here?
Mm-hmm.
How
like,
is it? You know, we keep going back. So how can we help to move forward and not go back this way?
And even if it takes for that person, like, you know, they're like, well, I just need to figure it out. So you give them their space to let them figure it out. But you know, you could check on them also.
Of course.
But yeah, it's very hard in regards to like healing, stress, forgiving, how it affects our body. Because no matter if we, like you said, we're trying to walk it, we're trying to shop, we're trying to get high, we're trying to do X, Y, Z to cover and mask it, our body is affected.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Like I was telling y'all, I was diagnosed with Schumberg's disease because of stress. And the dermatologist literally said, you will have to stop stressing in order to be healed. Like when I was stressing and going through the issues I was going through, like literally I felt my ankles were swollen, the marks on the back of my leg, they looked like bruises, and they felt like fresh bruises, like they were hurting, like they were hurt, they would itch. It was very, very painful. And all I kept saying is like, you know, God, how do I heal from this? Like, you know, how do I stop stressing over whatever is stressing me out? At that time, it was marital problems. Like, how do I get over it? Because even though I'm saying I'm over it, obviously I wasn't over it if I'm still feeling this pain.
Right.
Like, literally. And I felt pain. Literally felt pain. So it was like, you know, until I really start to build myself up, knowing my worth, stop masking stuff by. In my personal journey, it was smoking. It was me trying to figure my life out with God, like my journey. And it's like once I started figuring that out and meeting new people, women of God, like, you know, my circle, people that were able to lift me up and pour into me and pray with me, things start changing. Like literally, like I don't feel pain, thank you God. I don't feel any, like, it's just marks, but those marks are just a remembrance of how far I've came. Like literally, and this literally came from stress.
Yeah, and it's important, that one thing that we do, especially for people who are, been on the faith journey for a while, that we don't continue to mask, because we may feel like, oh, I'm a Christian and my platform speaks about freedom. And so I can't, if I'm mad at someone and I'm having a hard time forgiving them, I can't speak about it. Why you can't?
Right. Be real.
Why you can't? Like,
not just what you preach.
Yeah, like why you can't? Like, it's not always gonna be like perfect. Sometimes it may take us more than one day to actually forgive someone. But the key thing is, you're gonna be triggered, like I said, especially in certain situations when it comes to forgiveness. But the thing that we're saying not to do, if something happens and you're triggered, you don't call that person up and be like, because of you, I'm feeling this way, I'm da-da-da-da. No, you call a trusted friend, family member, I was just triggered by, can you pray with me? Can we go and have some lunch? Can we go? But it's not for you to call that person up and be like, and just start speaking badly about them. This is your fault. This is your fault. Because I'm feeling this way because it's your fault. I can't get a job because it's your fault. I can't keep a job because it's your fault. I can't have a successful marriage or have a good relationship with my kids because of the hurt that you caused me.
But if we're not in that journey yet, in our walk of faith, the spiritual part with God, then you still call someone that is more positive than you.
Yes.
Because there's you always have someone that's positive. You do not hang with a group of just a whole bunch of Debbie Downers. That's for sure. Right. And if you do, then you gotta figure that part out. You gotta have someone that's positive in your life. You have to. Like, there's no way you can't. And if you do, like I said, switch it up. So even if it's someone that's lifting you up in a different way, but that's not bringing you down, or that's not wallowing with you, that's not bashing, or that's joining the party of your bitterness. You need. It doesn't just have to be someone spiritual if you're not in that journey yet or in that walk just yet.
Right.
Just someone positive in general.
And being mindful, and we had talked about this in another episode, like your circle.
Yeah.
Like who you're hanging with. But what are you listening to? For instance, if you just got out of a bad relationship and you listening to like love songs, right?
The breakup songs, though, sometimes they was hitting a little bit. Just a little bit.
But it's going to keep you in that, that place. Or if you're on social media, hashtag relationship goals. And, you're like, wow, why can't he? Then you get stuck in that place, So especially that's when it comes to guarding your heart and your mind. But part of guarding your heart and your mind is guarding your ears. What are your eyes? And your eyes. Absolutely. What are you listening to? What are you watching?
That is so true. Things start changing when I change my music. If I listen to secular music, it's because I'm in someone else's environment. My choice, if you're in my car, if you're in my house, we're going to listen to gospel. And I listen to contemporary gospel. I listen to rap Christian music. I listen to all type of hip Christian music, because it's like, I was a person that I was an R&B person. So I love R&B. I love slow jams. So therefore I will listen to similar music, but it's a gospel version. So it's just like when I literally changed my music, it automatically, when you're singing and praising the Lord, if you're in a bad mood, even if I don't get into the mood immediately of being happy and my spirit being lifted, it's going to get to me. It's going to hit me one way. God's going to nudge me like, you good. Like, you praising the Lord right now. So it's just like, you have, not saying that it's a good choice that you changed your music. It really is. Like, I really do recommend changing your music, even changing what you see. And it's like, I am guilty of watching Power with my husband. I watch a lot of shows with my husband, but if I'm watching TV alone, I'm looking at a sermon. I'm looking at something that's, that's going to stimulate my mind. Right. But when I'm with my husband, I watch what he watches, but that's only to a certain extent because he knows that I won't watch certain things still. So he has that respect for me, but it's just like, you have to, like you said, guard your eyes, guard your ears. literally guard that stuff. That when you listen to all this profanity of insulting women or insulting men and using them for the wrong things, you're starting to, and you're singing it and you're repeating it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're manipulating your mind. Like you were saying, like, yeah, that's how I'm gonna be tonight. You know, forget that person, whatever, such and such. Yeah. You're gonna go hard.
And you start expecting things from people that don't have the tools to give it to you. Mm-hmm. You know, so like, especially like with the relationship goals, like, you're like, oh wow, he don't bring me flowers, or when it's my birthday, he don't do this like big extravagant thing, right?
He don't post me on Facebook.
He don't post me on Facebook, you know, but you have to accept your people for who they are. And then there's something that you need, you have to voice that. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't expect people to know you. Like, oh, they should know me. They know me for this long. Mm-hmm. No. You need to express to people. Because we too, as people, change. Maybe 2 years ago, I was into flowers. But now I want a massage every month. You know, like, people can change, and you have to respect that. And so if you need something, you need to tell them. And again, I'm not going to stop saying the social media thing. He may be bringing her flowers. Her body may be boom, 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 bam. Right? You don't know what's real, and you don't know what's fake.
Exactly.
But you over here idolizing this way of living, this way of looking. But if you open that door, you're going to be running the opposite way. So you got to be mindful, again, guarding your heart, guarding your mind, your ears, and your eyes. And realizing, like, if you're finding yourself always sick, you know, like, I keep getting sick, your blood pressure high. Mm-hmm. Do I have any unforgiveness in my heart?
It's stressing me out.
Right.
You know, why do I keep eating? Like, I'm not even hungry. I keep spending. I keep doing all this stuff, and it's not satisfying me.
Right. That part.
Right. What is it that I'm really feeling?
Right, exactly. If I'm not happy with this or that, and then I'm just not happy with nothing, what is it? Mm-hmm. That right there is perfect. Like, what is it? What is it? What do you always say? You got to call that it a thing.
Yes.
Right. Call it what it is. Call it what it is. And that's what, you know, for those, like, you know, you said, who are maybe not on the spiritual journey yet, you know what I mean? Call it what it is. Say what it is. Whatever that thing is, say it. For those of us who are on the spiritual walk, God, search me. Mm-hmm. What is it that's in me that I haven't forgiven, that I still need to work on? I need you to help me work through. Ask him. He wants to hear it.
Because he knows. He just wants us to admit it. Acknowledge it.
Exactly.
And one thing I always tell people as well is, like, of course we pray, you know, but also studying his word. So, like, if you're in a season and you're dealing with forgiving people, Google scriptures on forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And you just read them every day. Read them. Look up the words. Like, okay, what does this word mean in this scripture? Mm-hmm. Maybe you know the word, but maybe in that sentence, it has a different meaning. Right. You know, and just reading it every day, you know, and just trying to ask God, what's the hindrance? Mm-hmm. What's hindering me from forgiving this person? And let's be honest. Like, let's go back to that victim mindset, right? Sometimes we want to have a reason to be mad. We want people to feel sorry for us, right? So what need are you trying to feed? Yeah. You know, you want people to, oh, it's okay. You know, her husband left her, or, you know, whatever it may be.
Attention seeking.
You know, that attention seeking behavior. Yeah. That is the wrong freaking attention. Because guess what? As soon as that person stop showing you attention, now you mad at that person.
Mm-hmm. Like, really.
Right, and then be on to the next person trying to get that attention.
It's very much so inevitable in that case. Like, then nothing can please you. Yeah. Nothing can please you. Not everyone's going to be at your beck and call or be in that circle. Like, sometimes, like you said, it's your responsibility to fix that. Mm-hmm. I can't fix you. I can't want for you. I can't heal you. Right. So therefore, like, you know, I was there for you. I'm there for you now, and I'm done. There's something else I can do.
Yes.
You got to face it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Bring it to God. And learn how to fill your own cup.
Yeah, look at yourself in the mirror.
What do you like to do? Mm-hmm. What do you like? What's your hobbies? You know, what do you want to do?
You know, that was me. That's how I'm where I'm at today. It's literally, I had to focus on Sade.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't just Andrew's wife. I'm not just, Peyton and Jordan Somali's mom.
Mm-hmm.
What about Sade? I forgot who I was. Like, I lost myself into them. Literally. I did. And where it's just like, no, this is who Sade is.
Mm-hmm.
This is what Sade wants to do. Like, just because you're a mom, just because you're married, or just because you're just whoever you are, doesn't mean that your life is finished.
Right.
You have to remember your whys, remember your
Mm-hmm.
goals, remember your childhood dreams and what you wanted to do and what you're able to still fulfill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's key. So the question that we're going to leave you with today, are you willing to kill yourself for the sake of not letting that person go? Because what you're doing is slowly killing yourself because of the negative physical effects that holding on to unforgiveness has on your body. Like, you have to let that person go. You may think that I'm good, like, I'm fine. No, you're not. You have to stop lying to yourself. The one thing that I must say is, here, we're going to be real. And we're not going to say the things that you like to hear. Because if we always just say the things that you like to hear, how are you going to change? How are you going to transform?
Mm-hmm.
And we're speaking things that we've been through, that we're still going through.
Absolutely.
And forgiveness is something that you have to choose to do. And it's not going to be an easy choice, but it's a necessary. And we want you to be able to have a healthy heart, to be able to sleep at night,
Yes.
to be able to reach those, goals that you want to reach. To be able to buy that house, not just racking up your credit cards. Not just thinking that you have to show up a certain way for people to like you and see you. Like, all we want is for you to just be you.
Love you. Mm-hmm.
So we hope that you're enjoying the forgiveness series. And if you haven't already, please watch the last episodes that we've done on forgiveness. And we have more to come. We've been covering forgiving others. Next up, we're going to talk about forgiving yourself. Until next time, thank you for joining the Freedom Circle. I'm Marcia.
I'm Chartrice.
I'm Sade.